What if I told you the most powerful currency in human history is already losing control, and almost no one is paying attention? What if the money in your pocket, the numbers in your bank account, are quietly losing value not because of a crisis you can see, but because of a system you were never meant to question? For decades, the US dollar has stood at the center of the global economy. It prices oil. It dominates trade. It connects nations that don't even trust each other. It feels permanent, untouchable, inevitable. But history tells a different story, because every empire, no matter how powerful, eventually reaches a moment where its greatest strength becomes its greatest weakness. And right now, beneath the surface of global finance, something is shifting, not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly and permanently. So the real question is not, will the dollar fall, but who is preparing to replace it? To understand how a system collapses, you must first understand how it survives. At the core of the modern financial system lies a simple but dangerous principle. That the United States today carries a national debt so large that it exceeds tens of trillions of dollars. But this is not just a number. It represents something far more profound. It is borrowed value from the future, used to sustain the present. Governments spend more than they earn. To cover the gap, they borrow. When borrowing becomes too large, central banks step in, not by reducing spending, but by increasing liquidity. In simple terms, they create money. Not by printing physical cash, but by expanding digital balances inside the banking system. Numbers increase, liquidity flows, markets stabilize. At least on the surface. But beneath that surface, a silent process begins. This is inflation. Inflation is often misunderstood as rising prices, but prices are only the symptom. The real cause lies deeper in the imbalance between money and real value. Imagine an economy as a fixed pool of goods and services: food, housing, energy, labor. Now imagine doubling the amount of money circulating within that system, without increasing the actual supply of those goods. What happens? Each unit of money becomes less valuable, not because things become more expensive, but because money becomes less scarce. This is the hidden tax of inflation. It does not announce itself. It does not shock instantly. Instead, it erodes purchasing power slowly, consistently, almost invisibly. And the most dangerous part, it compounds. When central banks inject massive liquidity. During crises like the 2008 financial crisis or the COVID-19 pandemic, they are not solving the problem. They are delaying it, because every new dollar created reduces the relative value of existing dollars. And here, psychology takes control. A currency is not backed by gold anymore. It is backed by belief. People accept money because they trust that others will accept it tomorrow. But trust is fragile. It can hold for years under pressure, and then break suddenly. And when trust begins to fade, the system does not weaken gradually. It begins to unravel. This has all happened before, long before the dollar. The British pound ruled the global economy with absolute dominance. It was the currency of trade, the reserve of nations, the symbol of power. And yet, it collapsed. Not overnight. But slowly. After two devastating world wars, Britain found itself burdened with debt, weakened production, and a shrinking global influence. At the same time, a new economic power was rising: the United States. In 1944, the global financial system was redesigned under the Bretton Woods Agreement. The dollar became the anchor of the world. Gold-backed, stable, trusted. Until it wasn't. In 1971, the link between the dollar and gold was broken. Money became pure belief. And from that moment forward, the system changed forever, because every reserve currency follows the same life cycle. It rises through strength, expands through trust. And falls under the weight of its own success. But something else has changed. The dollar is no longer just a currency. It is a tool of power, because Global trade flows through dollar-based systems. Access to the dollar is not optional, it is essential. And that access can be controlled. Through sanctions, entire economies can be cut off. Countries can be isolated not through war, but through financial restriction. From one perspective, it is strategic dominance. From another, it is a warning, because the moment money becomes a weapon, it becomes a risk. And when something becomes a risk, the world begins to look for alternatives. And that shift has already begun. Countries like China and Russia are increasingly trading in their own currencies. Alliances like BRICS are building parallel financial systems. At first, it seems insignificant, small agreements, minor changes, but systems do not collapse in headlines. They collapse in patterns. Each transaction outside the dollar weakens its dominance, just slightly. Until one day, the shift is no longer reversible. If the dollar weakens, something must rise, but not one system. Many. The Chinese yuan powerful, but controlled. Gold ancient, stable, and touched by politics. Bitcoin decentralized, independent, unpredictable. And CBDCs digital, efficient, but fully controlled. This is not a transition. It is a competition. Between systems, between ideologies, between control and freedom. And yet, the dollar still stands, because the world is built around it. Global trade, financial markets, liquidity. And most importantly, habit. The dollar dominates because everyone still uses it, and no one wants to be the first to leave. But collapse does not look like chaos. It looks like erosion. Inflation rises, trust declines, alternatives grow, slowly. Then suddenly, a tipping point is reached. And belief begins to break. Because in the end, this is not just economics. It is perception. Governments manage narratives. Markets reflect emotion. People react too late. And by the time the shift becomes obvious, it is already over. The future will not belong to one currency. It will belong to many. Dollar, yuan, gold, digital assets, a fragmented system, a new order, because empires do not collapse in a moment. They fade. Quietly. Then suddenly. And the only question that remains is, when the system changes, will you see it coming, or will you realize it too late? If you're still watching, you're already ahead of most people. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Understanding this changes nothing unless you act on it. Because the system doesn't reward awareness. It rewards positioning. So ask yourself, are you early or already late? Drop your answer below.